pretty nicely set up unit, Steve.
You betcha. And we're going to have a trio out on the line because rolling into the Mile of Mud is Bill Sandage and Dad's Toy. And Bill's Buggy and also Rick Caperton's machine are pretty traditional Swamp Buggy machines. Very stout, a little on the heavy side, but they don't break down much. We're also seeing a new generation of buggies. Well, somewhere in Toontown, Yosemite Sam is proud to grace the nose of this beautiful, brand-new buggy owned and built by Albert Doria. It was constructed in just 8 weeks and finished at 3:30 this morning. The paint is still just a little bit tacky. Beautiful color, arrest me red, and lots of solid race car construction. The diamond plate dash, the roll bar with all the welds ground down and polished. This is really slick. An award winner, if you will. His inspiration to build a beautiful buggy came from his brother Jimmy. There is the Tasmanian Devil on the car called Texas Law. As you can see, again, good solid race car construction, and now they're not only fast, but they're beautiful and, most importantly, safe.
And now all we got to do is figure out what they're doing out on the line, Steve. This is supposed to be a qualifying race. I don't think it's an elimination, but who's to know what they're going to do with the rules here?
Well, they've gone to the traditional flag start because the electronic signal in the infield is not working, and I think Bill Sandage was looking over at the light and is way, way behind the first time through the deepest part of the course, which, as you well know by now, is called the Sippy Hole.
Rick Caperton got a really good start in Turkey Buzzard, and he is leading it in that black buggy. Right behind him is Dorian, Texas Law, trying to get in behind him, sort of out of the wake there, as they head down around that big sweeper and at the end of the first little straightaway here. And here they come down the front straight, and that's Dorian trying to catch him up here. Look at this. He's going on the outside, Steve.
Boy, he sure is. And this is the most water we have seen on the Mile of Mud in a long, long time. What a terrific. And here they come right into your living room. Hope you got indoor-outdoor carpet.
Here we go to the Sippy Hole, and they just leap across that with a new speed. And look at this. Doria gets way around on the outside. Looked like Caperton got in up on the dirt there, as it were, on the inside of the course, and that slowed him up a lot.
Oh, you bet. Doria made the outside line the best line through that far into the course. Look at he looks back over his shoulder. He sees Caperton is there, but Doria right now has got a substantial lead. Here comes Boss Buzzard.
Well, Caperton had to look like he had to back out of it there for a second. Now Doria's got himself a really good lead. Takes a look over his shoulder. No rear view mirrors on these rascals as he heads down this straightaway here with Caperton. He's headed for victory, actually. Caperton has fallen way back.
I think with this much water in the swamp, it has dictated different lines around the course, and Jimmy Doria was the first maybe to figure that out in Texas Law. And here is our third place finisher, Bill Sandage, and Dad's Toy. I tell you what, Brock, let's have another look, a couple of angles of an excellent side-by-side confrontation.
Well, here's Doria on the outside and Caperton on the inside, charging toward the Sippy Hole. And notice how Doria in Texas Law just charges across that hole wall. Caperton really bogs down, and that really made the difference in that race.
A year ago, I think Caperton would have been in the right place here with all the water in the swamp. Maybe not. And you can see Jimmy Doria, Texas Law, coming around the outside. It may be the long way around, but in the shallower water and with those very narrow front wheels, he didn't scrub off as much speed as Buzzard did taking the tight line.
Well, Rick, you looked like you were going to nail him as you got out of the Sippy Hole, and then it looked like you slowed down. Something happened.
Well, they did something a little different with the track this time. I heard about it, but I didn't think it was that bad. They sort of tapered the track where it's deeper along the inside and gets shallower going out. I've driven this track for 16 years, and the inside's always been the best track, but today there was no traction. I had to, when he came beside me out there, I had it completely out of it, feathered back into it, and stood back into it and went past him again, but then I lost traction.
Well, now, wait a minute. You're a vice president of this event. You should have known that, didn't you? They didn't bother to tell you about the racetrack preparation, huh?
Well, I've been too busy. I haven't had a chance to come out here and see what's going on with the track. I should have come out and taken a look.
It's a great event. You got about bigger than ever, really.
Yeah, it gets better, bigger and better every year. These guys are building some beautiful buggies. Some good competition out here.
It's great seeing you.
Good to see you.
For sure. Rick Caperton. Steve?
Going wide on that near turn, you didn't scrub off the kind of speed that he did in the deep stuff.
Yeah, I lose a little speed there, but I can make up for it in the long run.
Did you know the track conditions before you went out?
Yeah, I tried it out earlier, and I stayed in the middle the first time I tried it out, and it seemed to work pretty good.
Okay, good luck rest of the day.
Okay, thank you.
Brock?
Okay, so wait a minute. What's this? Is this a couple of kids having some fun, or are the course workers checking for debris on the track? Either way, they're having a good time here at Naples. Stick with us. We'll be back for more of the Swamp Buggy.
Brought to you by the new La Quinta Inns. You're not staying at a hotel. You're staying with us.
Think you're ready for the new La Quinta Inns?
When you walk in, you experience a beautiful focal point of
a bas-relief fountain on the wall of cast stone with a lion head spewing water.
That's an architect's description for sure.
When you enter the La Quinta lobby, you're going to get a sense of some different zones.
Zones?
You're going to have the business zone.
I'd probably like to have that fountain.
And the dining zone is for, of course, the continental breakfast.
The new La Quinta. You're not staying at a hotel. You're staying with us. I'd like to take this lobby and stick it in my living room.
When Burger King Flame Broiling went one-on-one against frying, you know who won? Flame Broiling won, 4-1. In fact, the Flame Broiled Whopper is the #1 preferred burger in America. And for a limited time, the Whopper is just 99 cents. 99 cents for the #1 burger.
Welcome to
We may not be the world's #1 fast food place. It just tastes that way. Get a 99-cent Whopper at Burger King.
If you're looking for a reliable place to service your car or truck, I've got great news for you. It's a Pep Boys Automotive Super Center. No matter what you drive, their ASE certified technicians are here when you need them, day or night, even on Sunday. For Rebestus brakes, TRW rack and pinion repair, diagnostic tune-ups, even air conditioning. For dealer quality service at prices you can afford, come to Pep Boys and drive away happy.
Monroe Sensitrack, road sensing shocks and struts. Designed to give you extra control during a swerve. Extra control over rough roads. Monroe Sensitrack gives you both extra control and ride comfort automatically. Monroe Sensitrack, like 2 shocks in 1. Call 1-800-STRUT now for a Monroe Sensitrack dealer near you.
We are back at the Jurassic Park of motorsports, the famous Mile of Mud here in Naples, Florida. I'm Steve Evans along with Brock Yates, and it's time for yet another stock class heat race. Albert Doria in the brand new Showdown buggy I showed you just a little bit earlier.
And Bonnie Jolly is coming out with a buggy called Fatal Attraction. Bonnie and her husband are really good runners here, and that is a brand new buggy, or a very new one at any rate. And that could be real competition for Showdown, as possibly Jack Goddard in Jumpin' Jack will be. A little older style buggy, probably not quite as advanced as the two others. It's going to be interesting to see if he can stay up with Bonnie and with Albert.
Well, last year was the first time we showed you the 8-cylinder stock class, and Bonnie Jolly was the dominant driver and may be again. However, we now see it's not just old buggies coming out of the unlimited class and stepping down a notch. There's buggies being created strictly for this particular type of swamp buggy race.
All right, starter is going to trying to find his green flag there, and as he runs down to the, get into position, there was, as you said earlier, a green traffic light across on the island over there, but apparently that doesn't work right now, so we're just going to watch the green flag drop, and it does.
Great reaction time by Albert Dorian Showdown. He's on the inside to go this little short straight, then cut diagonally left across the course, then make a right turn, and it becomes an oval for the rest of the way around.
So Doria really got a good start. He tucks down on the inside there as he takes that big sweeper down onto the front straightaway, and he is pulling away from Bonnie Jolly pretty good now. I'm surprised. She had a really good run last year, and that is a strong buggy.
Well, they didn't know what to expect from Showdown. It wasn't finished until the wee hours of the morning, and right now Albert Doria is showing them that as tired as they might have been, they got everything on their right so far anyway.
Oh, yeah, so he's just jumped across the Sippy Hole. Here comes Bonnie, and she gets through the Sippy Hole no problem as well. These buggies got really good bottom design on them now, so the Sippy Hole is just not really a factor. Plus those big skis underneath the front wheels. Well, here comes Doria out onto the front straightaway to complete this heat, and he is really in a dominating position right now.
And you can see how the discs on those front wheels help them act as rudders, really. A very stable ride for Doria in this brand new machine. He has got to be really pleased.
Well, he wins that heat going away, and surprises, I would imagine, the Jolly family with that kind of power. Here comes Bonnie down the front straightaway. Sippy Hole coming up, but you notice it doesn't bother her a bit either. She just sweeps through there and into the pits, and she's going to talk with her husband and say, what's going on here, as is the crew of Jack Goddard. jumping jack is not jumping right now. In fact, it is bogged down coming off the last turn.
Let's take a look at the start again. You can see how important it is. Albert Doria had a good draw on the inside of that bright orange buggy, and he used it to his advantage. At the hint of the break of the wrist of the starter, he was hard on the throttle. Automatic transmission in front of him. As we said earlier, good old boneyard V8 you could probably buy for $100.
All right, another heat coming right up. This is Mike Butcher in Plum Crazy, another stock 8-cylinder buggy. As he comes out, gets set up, it looks like he's going to have that pole position, as it were, which is a good one here. This is Ron Newsom and Little Looney. Notice no wing on that one, but look at this. Billy Kipp and Swamp Rat, he's coming out with a pair of wings on that one. Well, wait a minute. There's no aerodynamic surface on the front wing. This could revolutionize the way Swamp Buggy aerodynamics are set. Steve?
Nothing like winning with a brand new untried machine. That's fun, huh?
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Not saying a hot day of riding the swamp. Cool you right off.
Yeah, it sure does.
All right, now, what would you change in this buggy? Anything you don't like about it?
Nothing that I know. Everything's working perfect.
All right, he could win this whole class with a brand new machine.
I'll tell you what, Steve, Albert's a good guy, but I sure wish he wouldn't talk so much.
Oh, he's a regular chatty Cathy. Okay, here we go with the next heat. Mike Butcher, Billy Kipp, Ron Newsom, all on the line, all intently watching that stutter, and there's the green flag. On the outside is Swamp Rat, who didn't get a very good draw. He's trying to make up for it here. Can he cut back in front of the other buggies, just put him through the old car wash routine?
Oh, yeah, look. Maybe those wings do work, even if they don't have any aerodynamic surface on the front. Steve, look at the rooster tail that Kipp puts up in Swamp Rat, and he has jumped into the lead from the outside. That was a great start he had.
Oh, you bet. Billy Kipp and Swamp Rat is now kind of taking command of the lead, though, heading onto the front stretch.
Here comes Billy Kipp. Looks like that buggy's handling pretty well. But here comes Butcher on the outside in Plum Crazy. And remember what Doria did, Steve, to Rick Caperton.
Well, there's Ron Newsom, though. Little Looney is stalled back on the diagonal. He'll have to be towed out. And you're absolutely right. He may not want to hug the beach like he's doing. He must not have watched Rick Caperton earlier on. It didn't work for Caperton, and I don't think it's going to work for Swamp Rat.
Oh, he's really in the deep stuff. No question about that. As we watch Plum Crazy trying to get around him on the outside. But, of course, he is farther back than Doria was, so he hasn't got as good a shot at him.
Oh, but look at Mike Butcher and Plum Crazy. He had lots of momentum on the outside there. He is picking up the leader. Does he have enough racetrack to catch him?
Well, he just went through that little sippy hole. There's another one on the back straightaway. Got through that with no real problem. And now they head into that big sweeping right-hander, that final turn on the course. And he's going to try him on the outside again. We got one straightaway left here.
And here he goes. Oh, and suddenly Swamp Rat stalls just long enough for Mike Butcher and Plum Crazy to take the lead one more time across the sippy hole. If he doesn't flood out or bog down there, he's going to win this qualifying heat. You bet he does. Now, Billy Kipp and Swamp Rat will not finish, and according to the rules I read, that means he won't be back.
Rules? You read rules?
Well, it's kind of handwritten on the back of the cocktail napkin, but official nonetheless.
As we watch Billy Kipp try to restart Swamp Rat, but I'm afraid the rat is swamped.
All right, let's have one more look at the past that will live in infamy. As the purple machine, Plum Crazy, comes around Swamp Rat with his dual wings. Maybe there was too much downforce.
It's very possible. He just got on that straightaway and got up to speed and just bogged her down because here comes Mike Butcher. And Butcher really flying down the front straightaway here on Plum Crazy.
We'll be back.
Frank's Mitchell 300 has worked flawlessly for 30 years. Mike's new Mitchell 730 has worked flawlessly since he bought it last week. We'll check back in another 30 years. Mitchell, the legend lives on.
DC, Baltimore, Philly, AC, New York, Buffalo, Albany. Call Greyhound now. It's the perfect time while it's $9 to $99. Chicago, Memphis, Frisco, Vegas, Miami, Atlanta, Orlando. Call Greyhound now. Go Greyhound while it's $9.99. Let's roll if it's San Antonio and that's where you want to go, or Los Angeles because that's where the family is. Call Greyhound and do it now while it's $9.99. See your sister, see your brother, see your father, see your mother, see your cousin, see your kids, see your old friend Sid. Call Greyhound. They've got it down and it's $9.99.
Hi, I'm Chris Elliott. I just want to talk to you about some things you might not know about cable. Have you heard of cable in the classroom?
No.
It's revolutionizing teaching as we know it. It's giving teachers a whole new way to teach and children a whole new way to learn.
Really?
Do you know that cable is providing commercial-free programming free of charge to teachers?
Beautiful.
It's going to change the future and make us better human beings in the process.
That's great, Chris.
I think I got my point across best I can. Who's next?
I shampoo for dandruff, but my scalp still itches.
Now there's Scalpicin for deep scalp itch, not ordinary dandruff. It's clear liquid, not shampoo. With itch medicine, doctors chose over these dandruff shampoo formulas.
The itch is gone.
Scalpicin.
Primitive hunters relied on their highly developed brains to find food. Today, the hunt leads to Bennigan's for the Monte Cristo, made with ham, turkey, and cheeses, served crisp and golden brown. Share one with your fellow missing links. Bennigan's, food and fun for humans.
Well, the waters are calm right now in the Mile of Mud, but do not be deceived. Another heat will be rolling to the line shortly. Right now, let's go to Brock Yates, who is with the winner of heat number 2, Mike Butcher in Plum Crazy.
Well, Mike, when he stopped in the Sippy Hall, it made it a little bit easier, but you already had it won.
I didn't have nothing went at the last turn right there. Went through the turn real good. I had trouble getting started. Carburetor wouldn't pick up or something, but it came on at the last right there and managed to pull it off.
Cleared its throat out, huh?
Yeah, cleared its throat out.
You got a little work to do on it?
Yeah, it's overheating a little bit. We have to get that done, maybe just a timing a little bit, but we'll try for next race.
You'll be ready.
Thank you.
Right out.
They all overheat due to the heat of the water, for one thing, in the swamp, and the location of the radiators in these things. All right, here is James Partridge and No Bull as we set up the 4th qualifying event. Love the names. And next up alongside him will be George Blaze Jr. in Some Kind of Wonderful.
And the 3rd buggy rolling out here as George Blaze gets set up in the starting line will be a buggy called Insanitation. How about that? Tim Beebe's on board here in Sanitation. I wonder what kind of business he's in.
I think we can guess that. You may have noticed he had a little device on the steering wheel. Earlier I had to look at exactly what that is. I'll bet a lot of our younger viewers have never seen a certain piece of equipment you'll find on a lot of the swamp buggies. And that's this knob on the steering wheel. When I was growing up in Southern California, we called this thing a Brody knob. But I guess everywhere else in the country it was known as a Necker's knob. Some states actually outlawed them because they figured it was better to have both hands on the wheel than one on the knob and one around Betty Lou. But I have a question. Can you still buy a Necker's knob? And where do you buy it? Do you go down to the Fuzzy Dice store where you get your Necker's knob and your Bermuda bell, or do you write the J.C. Whitney catalog? What about it? Let me know. Can you still get a Necker's knob anywhere?
I'll bet you nickel you can find one at old J.C. Whitney. In fact, I'll almost guarantee you, they may be on the way back now that you've given them your official endorsement.
Hey, could be a company there, you know. Well, what we've got here is the start of heat number 4, and No Bull, Brock, she no move.
She no move as James Partridge is just sitting there. And look at this. Tim Beebe in Insanitation has just blasted off the line, and he is out to a big lead. George Blaze Jr. in Some Kind of Wonderful is back there in 2nd, and in fact, No Bull is underway as well. So we've got a 3-buggy race, but I'll tell you what, they're going to have to really charge if they want to catch up with old Tim Beebe.
Well, No Bull at least is participating and having some fun, but you're right, Insanitation is out there just making some kind of a charge.
All right, here comes your leader, Beebe, down the front straightaway, taking a little look over his shoulder to see if anybody's behind him. How could he see? He's just throwing up a giant wake. Right behind him, that is, of course, George Blaze Jr. But Blaze is just falling behind here, and I don't think there's a chance to catch up unless Beebe breaks.
Well, he's making really good time, but he figured it out a little bit late. And with the kind of lead that Beebe's got in a very new, stylish buggy on the lines of the ones we showed you earlier, I don't think, unless you say the wheels fall off, anybody's going to beat him here.
Well, he just jumped through that, as I said, it got a little sippy hole on the back part of this courser, the Mile of Mud, as you will watch Blaze come down. Look, notice he is throwing up all kinds of water. He just not got a kind of an efficient entry into the water like the leader does.
No, and that little ditch on the back can be treacherous, though, because it's very abrupt, and we've seen them break wheels off there. We've seen them get upside down there. It really tests the integrity of especially the front end of the buggy.
Notice how efficiently those front skis are working for BB, because he just flies through the sippy hole and wins it easily.
And in second place, here he comes now, is George Blaze Jr. in Some Kind of Wonderful. I've noticed the color orange, very popular this year at these Swamp Buggy races. Of course, that tends to change from year to year. And now it's James Partridge and No Bull for the third spot. And the good thing about at least finishing here is he will get yet another opportunity to compete. If you don't finish in the qualifier heat, well, load it up and drag it on home.
Well, let's take another look at the start, which is, in fact, where Tim Beebe won the event. He launched well, as you can see in the upper part of your screen. That's Beebe and his buggy just getting a great start, and from the inside position, the sort of pole position here at the Mile of Mud, and he goes on to win it easily. So Tim Beebe, a winner here in the fourth heat from Steve Whittle.
Well, Tim, a nice drive, but let me ask you something. The track seems to be rough. The bottom's got a lot more holes in it than years past.
Track is real rough. The water's high. We set the buggy up for a little lower water, but today the water isn't high. We'll go back tonight, hopefully make some changes for the next race that's coming up.
What kind of setup are you talking about? What would be the difference in high or low water?
We built a whole new bottom skid pan for the buggy, because the older buggies were a lot higher off the water, and you had a lot further room to fall before you hit the hole. We made a lower buggy pan, and so that it'd skip across the skimboard effect, but it didn't work today.
Well, it worked better for you, Tim, than the other two guys in that heat, and we're going to see more of you and in sanitation coming up at the Swamp Buggy Challenge in Naples, Florida. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
When Burger King Flame Broiling went one-on-one against frying, you know who won? Flame Broiling won, 4-1. In fact, the Flame Broiled Whopper is the #1 preferred burger in America. And for a limited time, the Whopper is just 99 cents. 99 cents for the #1 burger.
Welcome to
We may not be the world's #1 fast food place. It just tastes that way.
Get a 99-cent Whopper at Burger King.
Give me the throttle, I'll show you some speed. Give me a swab and I'll saute some weeds. I was seized on stumps, I was born to tow. I got a grip in that propeller and I'm itching to go. Stumps breaking, weeds shaking, Minn Kota fishing machine, yeah. Ain't no place to hide from my four-wheel drive.
Minn Kota, four-wheel drive for your boat.
From day one, the attraction was irresistible. The desire, relentless. And the drive to dream to win. And to break new ground will never, never end. TNN Motorsports 1994. Hold on.
The pioneers of stock car racing forged a rich tradition of exciting competition. Finally, the first book ever devoted exclusively to the sport's colorful early days. If you're a real stock car racing fan, you've got to own this book. Hi, I'm Ned Jerry. I have a lot of fond memories about those early days in stock car racing. That's why I'm so excited about this series of books, 40 Years of Stock Car Racing. In Volume 1, the thrilling first decade of stock car racing comes back to life in more than 300 pages of racing summaries, box scores, and hundreds of rare photos. 40 Years of Stock Car Racing. It's your complete source for NASCAR's formative years. If you're a real stock car racing fan, you've got to own this book.
Have your credit card handy and call toll-free 1-800-238-9300 or save COD charges by sending $24.95 plus $2 shipping and handling to 40 Years of Stock Car Racing, P.O. Box 10030, Stamford, Connecticut 06904.
Well, folks, it's time for the motorsports equivalent of mud wrestling. Here on the Mile of Mud in Naples, Florida, we're ready for the 4-cylinder Jeep class. Brock, they don't go very fast, but they get very wet, and the competition can get very intense.
It can indeed. People take this very seriously down here in Naples, out in the Everglades. As Hal Kitterman in Little Toot comes out, that's a buggy that we've seen a lot here, and the Little Toot team is normally pretty potent here.
And here is Kathy Darby in Sia. I think the names in the Jeeps are maybe even better than the big buggy. And of course, everyone's favorite, Stinkfoot. Doug McCorvey, sponsored by Tenactin. I'm getting a communication from Yates. He says he's found something weirder than Little Toot, Sia, and Stinkfoot. That is absolutely impossible.
Hey, Steve, I don't have to tell you that things can get a little rough here in the Jeep class, but very few of them come in here with bullet holes in them. There's actually a couple of them in this one, and it may date back to 1942 when this thing was built. This is, in fact, an authentic World War II combat-style Jeep. It belongs to a couple of guys from up in Tampa, Doug and McCorvey and his dad, Darrell, who have come down here to race it. They built it probably 5 or 6 years ago, found it in a farmer's field, and it's an interesting one, and I'll tell you why. It's got this Ford logo on the back. Now, very, very few of them, maybe less than 100, actually were built by Ford with the logo on it. A lot of them were built by Ford, in fact, but the government said take that logo off. Well, it's an interesting piece. Now, Doug says that he didn't know that it was a real rare one until he began to take the torch to it. Now it's a full racing Jeep, but it could have been sold in original shape for maybe $25,000. But I tell you what, Steve, you could probably buy the whole Jeep class here for $25K. So value is considerably reduced on this one, but they're going to have a lot of fun with it anyway.
Well, regrettably, G.I. Joe was blown out of the water earlier today, and we won't see him in action. He'll be back next year, I guarantee you. Okay, here we go. Ford Jeep. This is race number 1. Look at it's all in the wrist. All in the wrist here on the Mile of Mud. And breaking out in front is Little Toot.
Oh, Little Toot's got a great start. That is Hal Kitterman on board Little Toot, and he is really going well. He's got a co-driver, navigator with him, as a lot of the guys do. I think they carry him for weight. I'm not really sure. I got to ask Rob Swift, and Swift Tick's over there on the right side of your screen. He's running alone, so he obviously doesn't believe in the two-man crew.
No, and they really wallow in the sippy hole in the Jeeps. Get plenty wet. That's where they've got those stacks on the carburetors up high to keep from sucking water in there and hydraulicking a piston. They've got silicone all over all of the electrics, and still it doesn't keep them from popping and banging a little bit.
Well, as I said earlier, some of these Jeeps are actually used in the swamps for hunting. Others are strictly racing, if I can call it that, Jeeps. As we watch Little Toot go out of the screen here, and here is Stinkfoot. Uh-oh, trouble already, Steve.
Oh, yeah. Now, stuck on the diagonal is Kathy Darby in Sia, and here with the proud eagle on the radiator cowling is Little Toot. And I tell you, a lot of these guys getting little sponsors around the neighborhood to help offset the tremendous expense of campaigning one of these.
That's right. As Kitterman and crew come down the front straightaway, right behind him is Stinkfoot. I tell you, can you imagine a car entered the Indianapolis 500 called the Stinkfoot Special?
I think it's a great idea, personally.
Right behind him is Rob Swift in Swift Kick. He's kind of following in the wake. Look at this. Good. He's drafting him, and now he's going to try to take him on the outside, Steve.
Yeah, he is. I don't know if that's the place to pass or not, though. It's awfully rough over there. Well, it's awfully rough everywhere. Now, wait a minute. Maybe he's got shallower. Oh, no.
Down in the old sippy hole, and that could spell disaster for Rob Swift. No, he's chugging back up, but he had a good shot at trying to get around Stinkfoot, but that did not work, and he boxed down, and Stinkfoot is now solidly in second place.
What a beating the equipment takes, especially your wristwatch, Brock. This would be a great one for old John Cameron Swayze, right? Took a licking and kept on ticking.
That's right. Great endorsement for Timex watches and bathtub sealer as well. I mean, a lot of great products can be proven here.
Oh, absolutely. PVC pipe, you name it. Lots of steam coming out of the leader. Must be getting a little bit of water somewhere into the motor, but passing it right through.
Here's a major challenge again by Rob Swift. He keeps trying to get around Stinkfoot, but just can't make it work. Every time he gets up on he gets into one of those sippy holes and slows him down again.
I think he's afraid he might catch something if he got too close.
All right, he's moving right in now. He's in a draft, as we say in the Daytona 500, following along in the wake of Stinkfoot as this battle really intensifies. Rob Swift trying to get around him on the outside, and that is the long way around. One more straightaway left as we watch the leader head toward the finish line.
Oh, yeah, the leader, Little Toot, not to be denied, but the good action, as so often happens in any kind of racing, is back just a little ways. And they're trying all kinds of different lines here, including maybe leaving the ground.
Oh, yeah. Look at this. The Stinkfoot, I don't know what he's doing. He's way, way out in the outer portion of the course as here comes Little Toot charging through the sippy hole to take the checkered flag.
And Doug McCorvey and Stinkfoot should get second place, unless, of course, Rob Swift in Swift Kick has got nitrous on board or some kind of torpedo power or whatever. But right now he's having a hard time negotiating the sippy hole for the last time. And taking second is McCorvey in the dreaded Stinkfoot. So even in some cases 50 years after they were first created, these Jeeps still will slog through just about anything you put in front of them.
There's your jubilant second-place finishers, and here's sort of how it happened. Right behind them is Rob Swift and Swift Kick. He tries them on the inside here. Notice that McCorvey's observer says, hey, challenge coming up here, passes on the information to the pilot, who cuts them off. Steve?
Well, Hal, with all the water in the old swamp today, it's pretty high, a little hard to keep it out of the ignition system.
Well, that's a little hard, but if you got it sealed good, it's working good. It's pretty tough out there. It's pushing a lot of water, but it's making it through.
Yeah, that's why God invented silicone, right?
That's right. God bless silicone.
All right. We got more Jeep action coming up here at the Florida Sports Park, so stick with us for more of the Swamp Buggy Challenge.
Never regretted buying the policy for my child. Great low-cost coverage. Made some checks with other companies, and yours is the best. You'll learn more in this Great Start Kit, yours free with a toll-free call. Life insurance for your child. If this security is what you want, call right now. And this evening, when you kiss your child goodnight, you can both rest assured that the good you've done today will last a lifetime. You can trust, guarantee trust.
Call now to receive your free Great Start Kit. There's no obligation, just information. Call 1-800-219-8200. That's 1-800-219-8200. Don't wait. Call now.
We are back at the Swamp Buggy Challenge here in American Sports Cavalcade in Naples, Florida, and that is Rick Caperton, the Boss Buzzard. We move from the Jeeps back into the purpose-built buggies, V8 stock engines. There is Texas Law, Jimmy Doria. You already saw him win one of the qualifying heats. And Brock Yates, we've got a third one out there somewhere, don't we?
Yeah, we do. It's actually a new buggy that we haven't seen yet. Steve Armstrong on board a buggy called Bad Attitude. I'll tell you what, it also could be called possibly bad paint job, too. I mean, that's not one of your prettier buggies. But Steve Armstrong is probably a good runner, and we'll see what happens. Remember now, the winner of this race will move on to the stock class final.
And everybody else loads up. And you'll notice the big wing on the center buggy there, that is not for downforce of the rear axle. That is to help lever up the front end and keep it light where it'll go through the various holes on the course. What a great start.
Wow, that is Caperton on the outside here on the left side of your screen going at it with Bad Attitude, and they just pinched out Jimmy Doria in Texas Law. He's back there in that rooster tail somewhere.
Oh, and look at the dousing. You can use this water as a weapon.
Caperton just drove right through everybody from the most difficult starting position, which is on the outside, and he has himself a pretty good lead. Here comes Bad Attitude, and coming up the rear, kind of surprisingly out of it, is Doria, who ran so well before.
I wonder if he wasn't a bit tentative with that beautiful new buggy in the traffic at the start, not wanting to scar it up. I mean, Boss Buzzard and Bad Attitude don't have much to lose in the looks department.
That's right. As we watch Caperton and Boss Buzzard just sweep around their right-hander. Look at this. Here comes Doria, and he has gotten around Bad Attitude. Bad Attitude has slowed up radically and falls back into that third spot. And here comes Doria now making a charge at Caperton.
Oh, but I'm afraid he may run out of swamp in which to make any kind of a pass. Experience on the part of Caperton really showed here on that start. He was very alert on the hole shot. He cut across into the diagonal, and look at him wheel this big old buggy. It may not be real pretty, but it sure is quick.
It is, as he forces it down the front straightaway. There's Caperton trying to see if anybody's behind him. Of course, you can't see a thing with that wash going up behind him, but he will cross the finish line and win this heat and move him into the stock class final.
And here is Jimmy Dorian, Texas Law. He will take the second spot, and bringing up third back there somewhere in the old swamp will be Steve Armstrong in bad attitude. We got to hand it to Rick Caperton. I mean, once burned is enough. He learned the line of this course, and as he told us in an interview, it's been recontoured. Boy, he nailed it this time.
And he nailed the competition, too, Steve. Right at the beginning, after crossing the Mississippi Hole, after the green flag drop, notice he moved out in front of Armstrong in bad attitude. Really doused him, just soaked him down real good. And Doria in the background there finally got by Armstrong, and it may be that Doria's engine was just so saturated after that pass that he never ran right after that.
What a difference a little track experience makes. A different line that time.
Don't tell me you can't teach an old buzzard new tricks, by golly. I went to school in that first race, and I wasn't going to let it happen again.
There's no hugging the bank today.
No, you got to stay at least one buggy width off of the bank, and actually about 1.5 to get anywhere today. You get up next to the bank, it's just like falling in a ditch. Motor's going crazy, the buggy's going nowhere. This thing felt great out there this time.
All right.
All right, so Rick Caperton in the stock class final with Buzzard. So as you can see, surf's up here at the Swamp Buggy races. Stick with us. We'll be back with more from Naples, Florida.
I use a shampoo for dandruff, but my scalp still itches like crazy.
You need Scalpicin, the revolutionary scalp medicine for deep scalp itch, not ordinary dandruff. Scalpicin is not a shampoo. It's a clear liquid you don't wash away like shampoo. Apply Scalpicin anytime for deep scalp itch relief with medicine chosen by doctors over all these dandruff shampoo formulas. Scalpicin penetrates to relieve the itch and help prevent flaking.
The itch is gone.
Scalpicin, the scalp medicine for deep scalp itch.
When you come to a Pep Boys Super Center, you'll be amazed by its size. They've got over 24,000 items, all with brand names you know and trust. Many with lifetime warranties. Raybestos, Borg Warner, TRW, Gabriel, Purolator, CR, and Bendix. Everything you need to keep your car looking good and running smoothly. Day or night, even on Sunday, come to Pep Boys and drive away happy.
For early humans, tribal conflict was often followed by primitive victory celebrations. These are still practiced at Bennigan's, starting with the ritual of the potato skins, bits of onion and crisp bacon on bubbling Colby cheese. Bennigan's, food and fun for humans.
This week on NHRA Today, we'll have all the latest news from the Mack Tools Gator Nationals and a profile of top field driver Mike Dunn. Check it out.
NHRA Today, Saturdays and Sundays only on TNN Motorsports.
Coming up tonight on Race Day at 8:30, we'll go live to Gainesville, Florida, where Pat Patterson will be talking with some of the stars of today's NHRA Gator Nationals. Plus, we'll have action from around the country, including today's Grand National race in Virginia. That's all part of a full Race Day show coming up live later today.
Race Day, the latest news from the world of motorsports, brought to you live, 11:30 a.m. and 8:30 p.m. Eastern, only on TNN Motorsports.
Hi, I'm Brock Yates, along with my pal Steve Evans, back at the Swamp Buggy Challenge at the Florida Sports Park in Naples, Florida. We're ready to go with more Swamp Buggy racing, but first, let's go to my pal Steve down at Trackside, or is that Swamp Side?
Today at the Swamps brings a whole new definition to debris on the track. Well, actually, it's debris floating up from the track. Look at all of the stuff that the safety workers are netting out of the water between heats. We got us driftwood. We got what here? A can of spray-on enamel. In fact, look right here. There's one floating by now.
I don't even want to think about what we can't see underwater here.
All right, insanitation. What an appropriate name for a buggy that should roll out into the course in its present state.
All right. Here comes the second buggy in this heat. That's Mike Butcher. We saw him run earlier in Plum Crazy. Mike, a good runner here, and getting set to go against the third buggy that's about to appear with the big horns on the roll cage. That is, of course, James Partridge in No Bull. Remember now, he had problems earlier.
That's right. He barely finished his heat, but he did finish. That's the key thing. Sponsored by Scarfy's Restaurant. I wonder what's on the menu at over Scarfy.
Yeah, it really tweaks up my appetite to think about a restaurant that does sponsor the Swamp Buggy.
That means the meatballs are harder than the pool balls. Okay, the winner will go and meet Rick Caperton and some others in our stock class final a little later on. So this is no second chances here now. Waiting for a green flag start. Where's the starter?
There he is. He's over there on the left side of your screen.
Okay, he's down there making sure all the wheels are lined up perfectly where nobody has any advantage, not even an inch. Now he sprints the 20 yards to the flag stand, one of the great moments in sport. One's ready, two's ready, three's ready. And we got to start. Ooh, and from the outside, that's not the favorite position. Tim Beebe in Sanitation is going to take an early lead.
Oh, great move. Just like Rick Caperton did earlier. He came from that outside starting spot to blow everybody away. In fact, we got problems with Plum Crazy back there. He's kind of bogged down, and No Bull has moved into second place.
Well, No Bull got squeezed up on the bank, and now he is into the bank. No Bull fighting for control, coming out of chute number 3. And apparently he's got to get it going again. Look, it's kind of like a water buffalo trying to board
He
the
was
stream.
up on the beach there for a while. Unfortunately, Plum Crazy with Mike Butcher on board, he is bogged down and will not run. And here comes your leader, unchallenged at this point. In Sanitation just boils across the sippy hole, and no apparent problem there at all. So right now, it's Tim Beebe way out front.
And it's Tim Beebe backing off, trying to save the wear and tear on this vehicle. He's got another tough race to come later this afternoon for the championship. So Tim Beebe not completely hammered down across the back section of the course.
Here he comes into that little sippy hole you mentioned earlier on the back part of the racetrack. There he is. Gets through that without too much trouble. As James Partridge at No Bull completes the sippy hole on the front part of the racetrack. And we've got Plum Crazy back underway again. He must have stalled and restarted. So he is unfortunately way out of the competition. In fact, he may get lapped here.
Oh, yeah, but this is the kind of an event where if you can just keep running out there, you've always got a chance. We have seen so many times here in Naples where a buggy appears to have just a block on the heat, and all of a sudden, right about there even, it'll break down and somebody will come crawling past him, but not today. Tim Beebe in Sanitation advances to the stock class final.
And notice that Tim is using his Knackers knob to good effect. So he heads for victory lane here at the Swamps. Well, we take another look at perhaps one of the most critical moments in this particular heat when No Bull with James Partridge on board somehow takes a left turn, gets up on the beach, looks like kind of a wounded water buffalo there for a minute, struggling to get back on course. He succeeds and in fact holds on to take second place. Good effort by James Partridge to save No Bull from total disaster.
Tim, can you drive this thing flat out?
As fast as the track will let me go. Right now, it's only pushing about 6,000, but that's flat out.
Now, the biggest problem with all the buggies seems to be cooling them off between heat.
There's just so much torque that this motor takes to push it through the water. The horsepower's there, just the water fights against us.
And no place else you could locate the radiator, maybe for better cooling purposes?
There's a chance of it, but radiators are expensive to replace.
Budgetary considerations always here at the Swamps, as well as the cleanup after the event of debris in the swamp. We'll be back with more from Naples right after this.
If you enjoy working with wood, you know how satisfying it can be to see a project come together. And you also know it can take years to learn the secrets and techniques of master woodworkers. Until now. Because now you can get a lifetime of woodworking wisdom all in one convenient reference. The Art of Woodworking from Time Life Books. More than plans and pretty pictures, The Art of Woodworking brings you practical how-to advice from the world's finest woodworkers to get you through the tough spots of any project and get you results you'll be proud of every time. Start off with cabinet making, now specially priced at just $9.99, and learn professional tips for creating cabinets that are built to last. Then go on to discover a safe, foolproof method for making beautiful hand-cut dovetail joints. And find out how to build dozens of time and money-saving jigs like this one that makes it easy to cross-cut long, wide, or heavy workpieces on your table saw.
Call this toll-free number now to order cabinet making for just $9.99. Use your credit card and you'll also receive this free bonus video, Shop Secrets from Master Craftsmen. In this exclusive video, 4 expert woodworkers show you their tips and secrets for perfect wood joinery, planing, and preparing stock with jigs you can make yourself. Future woodworking volumes will arrive once about every month at the regular price of $19.99. Keep only those you want. Cancel anytime. Keep the free video no matter what.
Every volume features step-by-step illustrations, plus a convenient spiral binding that lets the books lie flat while you work. From how to select the right stock to how to get the most from your woodworking tools, The Art of Woodworking gives you the confidence to tackle any project and the how-to advice to complete it with results you'll be proud of. Here's how to order.
Call 1-800-516-1199 to order cabinet making, now specially priced at just $9.99. Use your credit card and get a bonus video, Shop Secrets from Master Craftsmen, absolutely free. Call now. That's 1-800-516-1199. 1-800-516-1199.
Well, I know everyone in America's heart is still pounding from that last Swamp Buggy heat, so let's turn the wick down just a little bit and bring out another heat of the Jeeps. The winner here advances to the final round.
This is a stellar group here. Notice one of the crewmen there on board Froggy 2 waving to the fans. That's Vicky Rister in Imagine That. One of a group here, Tom Engle, the legendary Tom Engle. We've seen him before in a variety of situations on board a Jeep called Bad Company.
And here in Evil and Wicked is Steve Armstrong. He doesn't look so evil. His pal does, though. And here is one of the great names in all of Swamp Buggy racing. This is Rusty Fender in the Mud Addict. He is the last to roll into line. But before the start, let's go to Brock. He has found, well, an unusual buggy.
Hey, Steve, I'll tell you what. You and I have been coming to these buggy races for a long, long time, but we missed this one. This one actually showed up for the first ever Swamp Buggy races in 1949. It was built, actually, in 1938 by Sidney Griffin right here in Naples, Florida. Sidney built it as a hunting buggy, obviously. You know, it's got the gun racks here. It's powered by a little Ford Model A engine. That was a kind of motor of choice in those days. But Sidney used it not only for hunting, of course, but he raced it. And, in fact, it's still used out in the Everglades for hunting on weekends. So it's kind of a classic piece. Not exactly state-of-the-art. Notice that the wheelbase a little bit shorter than what we're used to right now. But I tell you what, it's a mighty nice piece and a vintage Swamp Buggy, a rare piece.
Well, Yates, maybe we could knock off some replicas of that thing. You know, they are replicating Cobras and replicating all kinds of MGs and Austin Healey's. Maybe we ought to replicate a Swamp Buggy.
It could be. Who's to know how big a market we get? But right now, we've got a major event coming up here. This is a last heat in round one of the Jeeps, and one of these guys will head into the Jeep final. And right now, it looks as if Evil and Wicked is leading it, but they go into the Sippy Hall, and now it's anybody's race.
Oh, yeah, and there is Rusty Fender getting rustier as Mud Attic is stuck. Not even in the Sippy Hole, never got that far.
All the Rusty Fender fans plunged into despair right now as they can't get that thing started.
And Froggy, too, is falling way back. Jerry Brennan, he's not having a good run here.
So as this field of high-tech Jeeps sorts itself out in the Sippy Hole, we're going to have to see who really comes out of the leader after they get through that deep part of the track.
Oh, and Bad Company, Tom Engle, he is bogged down on the diagonal. He has had no luck since the conservative officials here made him change the name from Reaper Madness to Bad Company.
That's right. That's right. That was a major turn in his career, and he's just never been able to get it back. And then, of course, there was a fight he had over there in turn 4. Remember that a couple of years back? That didn't help his career either. As Tom continues to struggle, here is your leader. That's Steve Armstrong at the helm of Evil and Wicked. But look at that. Right back behind him, Steve, is Vicky Rister in Imagine That. She's kind of hanging in there. She's doing a pretty good job.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Vicky is within shot if anything goes wrong, and everything can go wrong with these things. I mean, there's not a Jeep out there you don't see some kind of steam or smoke or fluid coming out of. They really ring these old F-head motors about as tight as they can run them. Everybody looking around trying to chart their strategy. And here comes Vicky Rister. She is sneaking right up on Evil and Wicked.
As we see the rest of the field still bogged down, but I noticed way in the background there, it looks like Tom Engle has gotten underway again. And we'll take a look at him as the leaders head down into the Sippy Hole. That, of course, is Evil and Wicked in the black Jeep on the left side of your screen. And right behind him, Vicky Rister. She struggles through. And look, Engle is underway in bad company. Now, the crewman there pointing the way around the racetrack. Navigation can be tricky here. As here is your leader, Evil and Wicked, heading down the back straightaway, being challenged on the inside by Vicky Rister and her lady crewman navigator there. Look at Vicky. She's up pretty close right now.
Oh, yeah, she's doing a great job. And she's taking a completely different line. She's not just falling in behind the leader and saying, well, I'll just mimic whatever he does. She's trying, ooh, this may not be a good line for her, though. But she may not have been watching the earlier races, because inside there with a Jeep or a buggy is not good.
Well, let's see what happens when they get to this little Sippy Hole in the back part of the course. Here comes Armstrong. He's heading for it. There he goes, down into it. And look at that. Vicky took a hard charge into that Sippy Hole and got up real close to him.
That's right, and she upshifted, made a very nice gear change there. Now she's looking down, though, as if maybe it popped out of gear for a minute.
All right, Armstrong, though, he's really applying the power on that thing as he heads down into the final corner here on the Mile of Mud. Vicky Rister, though, she is not giving up by any means on board. Imagine that. She's still staying in close, though. She likes that inside line, a little closer to the beach, but it's treacherous over there, as Rick Caperton told us.
All right, Steve Armstrong and Evil and Wicked does not have too much more course to accomplish here. Makes this right-hander come down the straight through the Sippy Hole one more time. And, of course, therein lies the rub, the last pass through the Sippy Hole, because right now, these things are saturated with water. They don't need another dousing, but they're going to get it.
That's right. And these little F-head Jeep engines, they are old-timers at best, and they are working real hard in this heavy, heavy mud that they have to run through here at Naples. Look at this. Vicky Rister is going to take one more shot at Steve.
Yep, and the Sippy Hole could be the decider. Nah, it is Evil and Wicked. Steve Armstrong first. Vicky Rister finishes in second, and we'll have to see. It may take another month or so for the rest of them to come around.
All right, so the victorious team of Armstrong heads toward the pits on board Evil and Wicked. Here is Bad Company finally making his way down. It looks like Tom Engle will, in fact, finish this event.
And that's a matter of pride to Mr. Engle. All right, looking again at the start of the race, and you can see one of the reasons Steve Armstrong won it. He's on the far outside there, the favorite position, and look, 2 Jeeps over. That's Imagine That also had a real good start. But Armstrong and Evil and Wicked, in that he didn't have as much real estate, if you can call it that. Well, in Florida, this is real estate. To travel over, was able to get a good lead after the diagonal, and was never really headed, even though Vicky certainly gave it her best shot. All right now, let's go to Brock Yates with, I'm sure, the overjoyed winner.
Well, Jeep's running good.
Yeah, it is. The track's real different this year than it has been before. A lot more mud to deal with. Usually we never had to deal with the mud part very much, but this year it's real muddy going across the center of the track out there. So,
well, you're running more in second gear than you would be normally?
Yeah, first and second. You know, they're a little slower than normal until we get out into shallower water and we pick speed back up again.
Well, go get them. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
He call you Sir Yates? He did. Sir Brock. He'll get too attached to that. Stay with us, folks. We'll be back to Florida in just a moment.
Weekends on TNN Outdoors. Roland Martin knows where to find them and how to hook them. Whether he's rigged for mackerel off the coast of Florida or reeling in trophy-sized bass on inland waters, he takes the big ones.
Hey! That is what it's all about.
Fishing with Roland Martin. Weekends on TNN Outdoors. It's all about getting inside the real person on the path to stardom. You'll share in the memories, the laughter, the solitude, family, and the excitement as dreams come true on the path to stardom. Once a promoter for a theater that booked Reba McEntire and the Beastie Boys, these days Doug Supernaw is traveling his own path to stardom. Monday, Brought to you by Cracker Barrel Old Country Store. Monday. It's a big six-star tribute to San Antonio, starring the Tex-Mex supergroup of the 90s, the Texas Tornadoes. One of Texas's favorite sons, Gary P. Nunn. Riders in the Sky. The Great Ray Price. San Antonio's Tish Hinojosa. And the legendary Little Feat. All together in concert. The Texas Connection from Fiesta, Texas and San Antonio. TNN, the Nashville Network, Monday.
We're back at the Mile of Mud in Naples, Florida, where we get ready to go with the final heat of round one. Now, the winner of this in the stock V8 class will go into the finals, Steve Evans. And George Blaze Jr. in Some Kind of Wonderful. We saw him run earlier. Going to be interesting to see if he can pull one out here. He's got one last chance.
And some tough competition. Albert Doria in Showdown. And for Albert, this is exactly that, a showdown. If he doesn't win here, he will not make it to the class final. And I'm sure you recall that Albert and Yosemite Sam just flat smoked him in his earlier qualifying run. All right, and to round out the trio here in this final last run in round number one is Bill Sandage and Dad's Toy. Dressed for the occasion is Mr. Sandage.
No question, Sandage kind of represents a classic fashion statement here. Tank top and shorts, which is generally what you'll find the driving suit consists of.
You know, wouldn't it be, I'm not kidding, appropriate to wear like a skin diver's mask? You see all the water they've taken in the face? Maybe that just, you'd be a wimp if you did or something.
Yeah. That is a little bit too wimpy. But it's a good idea. But here goes the starter, as you said earlier, making that classic run down the Mile of Mud here on the edge of the track. Getting ready, engine revs up, and this three-buggy race about to go.
Ooh, and a great start by the buggies on the inside. George Blaze Jr. in Some Kind of Wonderful had a pretty decent start as they head through the Sippy Hole. Everybody looking back, and George Blaze Jr. has got problems. He bogged down in the Sippy Hole.
Yeah, he sure did.
Oh, and up on the bank goes exactly where No Bull did, Dad's Toy. So Bill Sandage is in trouble, and all of this is real good news for Albert Dorian.
That thing is so slick. Notice how the water is just exhausting off the front wheels. Some of the buggies will throw water out in front of them, and Doria's buggy is just coming right off the back of the wheels like a perfect wake.
And as they say in so many different kinds of motorsports, Albert Doria has definitely hit the setup on the shocks, both front and rear, on the ski location in relationship to the front wheels. And as Brock pointed out, look at that. That is just beautiful, symmetrical path through the water.
So he just skates right over that Sippy Hole in the back part. He heads down and through that big sweeping right-hander. Here he comes down the front straightaway. And I'll tell you what, I don't think I've ever seen a stock class buggy run as smoothly and as quickly as Albert is doing at the wheel of Showdown.
It would be interesting to see one of those 1,200 horsepower big blocks in this thing. I think that chassis could probably handle it. So Albert Doria moves on. He will join Rick Caperton and Tim Beebe in the 8-cylinder V8 stock class final round to come. And taking second place will be Bill Sandage and Dad's Toy. And here you can see the difference, as Brock mentioned, between Albert Doria's Showdown and some of the other buggies. He's trapping lots of water under the body, doing almost everything he can do, unintentionally, of course, to slow that buggy down. The water resistance requires the engine to work much, much harder. It essentially slows it all down. George Blaze Jr. in Some Kind of Wonderful, well, he'll have to settle for third. You can see him way in the background there, kind of slugging it through the swamp, headed for the finish line for the final time. But all in all, some pretty good racing on the V8 stock class, and a lot of dependability as far as the engines are concerned. Here's Brock with the winner.
Well, I'll tell you what, Albert, you're undefeated. How's it, first time out of the box, every time you go out there, you blow somebody away.
Well, I'm glad that was my goal to do that when I built this buggy.
You, doesn't seem to be breaking anything. Nothing seems to look hot back there. Everything looks real good.
Everything looks fine. I've had a lot of help from a lot of my friends. I've learned a lot from Terry Langford and a lot of guys that I work with. And my mechanic, John Gifford, he's my main man.
You're not going to change anything, I wouldn't admit.
No, I've learned a lot from my brother Jimmy in Texas Law.
Good deal. Well, we'll see you out there. Good luck. Keep that string going.
Thank you.
Well, seeing as these guys have had no sleep, just barely got the buggy out here, I think Albert Doria is not only doing a great job behind the wheel, but also in front of the microphone. Now, there's the way you go to the Swamp Buggy races, huh? Old school buses never die. They just end up with a mile of mud.
Introducing the Dremel Moto Tool. You cut, we cut. You sharpen, we sharpen. You polish, we polish. You drill, we drill. You clean, we clean. You sand, we sand. You grind, we grind. You hammer. Did I mention we cut? The Dremel Moto Tool. With more than 150 available accessories, why settle for some 2-bit power tool?
If you're looking for a reliable place for your car or truck, I've got news for you.
Now at Pep Boys, $10 rebate on all Futura, Michelin, and Uniroyal tires in stock.
Come to Pep Boys and drive away happy.
Primitive hunters relied on their highly developed brains to find food. Today, the hunt leads to Bennigan's for the Monte Cristo, made with ham, turkey, and cheeses, served crisp and golden brown. Share one with your fellow missing links. Bennigan's, food and fun for humans.
Coming to TNN Motorsports, the Good Wrench 500, the Winston Select, the Budweiser 500, the Champion Spark Plug 500, the Slick 50 300, the Splitfire Spark Plug 500, the AC Delco 500, the Slick 50 500, Winston Cup 94, get ready. Today, only on TNN Motorsports, all the speed, all the power, all the drama. For up-to-the-minute motorsports news and information, turn to the leader. Race Day, with 2 live editions before and after all the day's racing events. From IndyCar to AMA to NASCAR, catch it on Race Day. Today, 11:30 a.m. and 8:30 p.m. Eastern, only on TNN Motorsports.
Hello, I'm Susie Boggess, filling in for Lorianne Crook.
And I'm Charlie Chase. You don't want to miss a minute of next week's Music City Tonight. We've got a great lineup.
Including Doug Supernaw,
Linda Davis,
Jim Ed Brown,
Mike Snyder,
Bobby Vinton,
Twyla Paris,
Charlie Floyd,
and Yakov Smirnov.
Plus Lorianne Crook will be back.
We hope you'll join us, too.
That's Music City Tonight with Crook and Chase.
Weeknights on TNN.
Well, Steve, this is the moment that Swamp Buggy fans across the country, no, make that the globe, no, the universe, have been waiting for, the Jeep Class Final.
And Brock, you being the consummate expert here in Swamp Buggy Land, you, of course, picked this Jeep to win it all at the top of the show, Lunatic Fringe. All right, so Lunatic Fringe rolls out with Todd Davis behind the wheel, and here horns have become mandatory, I think, in Swamp Buggy Racing. This is James Partridge in Full It. Here's Steve Armstrong rolling out an Evil and Wicked. We saw him run real well. And Hal Kitterman, the fill-in driver in Little Toot, who had never done this before, obviously has the talent for it. And it's a big field. Also added into the Melu will be Bill Patterson in Firefox. You know, Yates, I think between now and next year, we should organize a celebrity challenge in the Jeeps. I'll get Rush Limbaugh. You get Al Gore Jr.
Absolutely.
Now that Julia Roberts is married, I love it. Anything's possible there.
Absolutely.
David Brinkley, he'd want a shot at this.
No question about that.
But you know all those heavyweights.
Carl Sagan, I think he'd be good in this one.
Oh,
What do you think about him?
absolutely.
Yeah, I think it'll be a nice... how about Julia Child?
Oh, gosh, yes. Chicken cookout. Oh, it'd be wonderful.
All right. We have got an incredibly strong field of Jeeps here in the Jeep Class Final ready to go. They're lined up, engines revving up to 3,500 to 4,000 RPMs as they launch off the line. And look at Todd Davis and Lunatic Fringe going in there. This is a muscle man's bout in here in the Sippy Hall.
Ooh, and there's contact. Lunatic Fringe nerfed the left rear corner of Evil and Wicked. Steve Armstrong now sideways in the Sippy Hole. Todd Davis and Lunatic Fringe trying to find him. He's just going to push him out. I guess that's the way you do it. Nope, now he's going to drive around. Those two exchanging some language that's not suitable even for cable television. I wonder if you got stuck in there, if you could call the Auto Club or do you call the boat rescue people?
Coast Guard. As we take a look at the leader over on the left side of your screen, that is Hal Kitterman on Little Toot. He took advantage of that starting line melee, and he has moved out into a pretty good lead. You can see that American Eagle radiator badge or bowsprit or whatever he's got out there that sets him apart from the rest of the field. There in second place is Firefox with Bill Patterson on board. He's and in back there in the third place warfare, that's James Partridge and Bullet. You can tell him with a horn. Steve Armstrong and Evil and Wicked, and Todd Davis and Lunatic French. They are really going at it.
Well, I'll tell you, Steve Armstrong, who thought he had the quickest Jeep of the bunch and then got center punch from behind, he is Evil and Wicked. He is really trying to move up here. There is the leader, though. That again being Little Toot with Hal Kitterman.
All right, and this is a three-way struggle for third here, and suddenly James Partridge and Bullet has fallen back a little bit there as the other two, that of course is Todd Davis and Lunatic French and Steve Armstrong and Evil and Wicked, go at it nose to nose down the front straightaway.
Well, here is Armstrong mounting his charge, trying to make the pass for third on Steve Davis and Lunatic Fringe, and they are bumper to bumper if they had bumpers.
Going right down into the Sippy Hole. This is going to get interesting. This is where everybody struggles. But look at that. Armstrong goes there through there pretty well, as does Davis. So those two guys in the back there, that is, of course, Partridge and Bullet. He is falling back even farther.
All right, here's a replay of the incident right after the start, first time to the Sippy Hole. The second Jeep from the top of your screen, right there, makes contact with Lunatic Fringe and turns him just enough sideways to bring everything to a screeching halt.
Meanwhile, on the right side of your screen, you can see Little Toot there with Hal Kitterman on board. He took advantage of that as the two of the faster runners in the field fell back because of that little bumping incident. So right now, the leaders are Hal Kitterman and Little Toot and Bill Patterson and Firefox.
And Firefox is staying close enough to Little Toot that if something were to happen there, we've mentioned that in the past, he could possibly take advantage of it. But the old Hal Kitterman shows a lot of style for a guy that hadn't done this before right there.
There he is. Yeah, he's doing real fine. They're getting plenty of water up in the radiator and in the engine compartment there. He's got some kind of, maybe he's got a special scoop there to keep the water. That engine is going to stay plenty cool, I think.
Well, part of his secret to success, and we got a little more banging and slamming going on out here. It's the race for third place. Evil and Wicked and Lunatic Fringe are running 1 and 2 in your picture anyway. That's Evil and Wicked. Now Evil and Wicked grabs a gear and just kind of like he got a little overdrive going there. Yates just smoked right out there a couple of bucky
he did. I looked like for a minute there that Lunatic Fringe with Todd Davis thought about going down on the inside and then remembered it's about 12 feet deep there. As here comes Little Toot. He just drove away from the field to take that victory. But unfortunately, Bill Patterson will not finish. And Firefox, he's out on the island and out of the competition. But meanwhile, the struggle for second place continues between Evil and Wicked. That's driven by Steve Armstrong up in the front there. And he's opened up a little bit on Lunatic Fringe with Todd Davis. They head down for the Sippy Hole one last time. This could be a pivotal moment here in the Jeep final, but it will not be. So Steve Armstrong moves on to take second in the Jeep final.
Well, Little Toot was a big hoot here today. Win in the Jeep class. Helen, this was a last-minute ride for you, right? Tell us about it.
He had an accident, and he wasn't able to ride, so I had to pinch hit for him.
Well, one thing you learned, no matter how big a lead you've got, you still have to go through that Sippy Hole the last time. Does that weigh on your mind as you're coming down?
All the time. It's always on your mind if you're going to get in and get out.
Hey, maybe you ought to make a career out of this. You're good at it.
Sure, why not?
Congratulations.
So a new star bubbles to the surface, as it were, here. The Swamps. Hal Kitterman wins in Little Toot. Steve Armstrong second, and Evil and Wicked. Todd Davis, after a good battle, finishes in third.
When Burger King Flame Broiling went one-on-one against frying, you know who won? Flame Broiling won, 4-1. In fact, the Flame Broiled Whopper is the #1 preferred burger in America. And for a limited time, the Whopper is just 99 cents. 99 cents for the #1 burger.
Welcome to
We may not be the world's #1 fast food place. It just tastes that way. Get a 99-cent Whopper at Burger King.
DC, Baltimore, Philly, AC. New York, Buffalo, Albany. Call Greyhound now. It's the perfect time while it's $9.99. Chicago, Memphis, Frisco, Vegas, Miami, Atlanta, Orlando. Call Greyhound now. Go Greyhound while it's 9 to 99. Let's roll if it's San Antonio and that's where you want to go, or Los Angeles because that's where the family is. Call Greyhound and do it now while it's 9 to 99. See your sister, see your brother, see your father, see your mother, see your cousin, see your kids, see your old friend Sid. Call Greyhound. They've got it down and it's 9 to 99.
Unbelievable. Spectacular. Breathtaking. Crash Impact. 60 minutes of blazing crash action in this special edition 2-volume set. See outrageous motocross and road racing action, sprint cars and outlaws, Grand Prix, stock cars, monster trucks, powerboats, and more. Only $19.95. This exclusive 2-tape set is jam-packed with magnificent racing and crash action footage featuring top drivers from around the world. Order now and get absolutely free. Havoc 1, over 45 minutes of rare footage, including some of the most thrilling and horrifying moments that made early racing history. And you'll get this incredible 2-tape offer, plus your Havoc video free. 3 tapes that'll blow you away. Guaranteed or your money back.
To order, call toll-free 1-800-544-6664. That's 1-800-544-6664. Or send check or money order for $19.95 plus $3.95 for shipping and handling.
This week on NHRA Today, we'll have all the latest news from the Mac Tools Gator Nationals and a profile of top field driver Mike Dunn. Check it out.
NHRA Today, Saturdays and Sundays only on TNN Motorsport. You could learn a lot about catching big fish by watching Al Lindner. You can also win the TNN Outdoors Fish America Sweepstakes. The grand prize is a complete fishing rig and an Alaskan fishing adventure. Watch In Fisherman Television on TNN Outdoors.
Well, we've got one more race left as we splashed our way through the competition here at the Swamp Buggy races, and that is the stock class final for V8. Steve is on the starting line.
Well, folks, we're going to have 3 buggies in the stock final. It's up in just a moment, but first, Rick Caperton, measure the competition for me. Rate the field.
Well, it looks like real stuff competition. I've been real busy back there tinkering with the buggy, getting some final things worked out, but it looks like the new buggy in
heat wave.
Whatever. But you got to get around to win. This buggy has been fierce off the line all day, and I plan on being there again. You can get out front. For somebody to come past you, they've got to have just oodles and boodles of horsepower. It's a deep track. I've got a high buggy. I've got a good running motor today. John Fillmore built me a real good motor. I think my chances are as good as anybody's.
Especially if you get the whole shot, right?
And I'm going to get the whole shot.
Okay, Brock.
Well, Steve, I'm with Albert Doria, who's about to celebrate this buggy's 12th birthday, and I'm saying 12 hours. Because I'm looking at your watch, Albert, and it's just about 3:30, and 12 hours ago you finished this rascal, and so far it's undefeated.
That's good. That's what I was looking forward to. I was hoping for that.
Pretty hard, though, to come out of the shop and make one of these things work as good as this one's worked.
Well, we've had one more before this one. Texas Law did good the first time out, so we're doing pretty good.
You got some tough competition, though. These guys are good. Caperton and Tim are both real experienced drivers, so you're going to have to work hard on this one.
Yeah, this is my first, well, this is my second time out in racing, but I think I'll do my best out there. That's all we can do.
Go get them.
Thank you.
Good luck. Okay. Steve?
Thanks, Brock. Last but certainly not least is Tim Beebe. Now, you were concerned with that new belly pan in this high water actually slowing you down instead of helping you.
It is still slowing us down. I wish we had about 4 or 6 inches taken off of it. It takes the toll going through the holes.
It's not something you can remove?
Yeah, we can cut it down tonight, but it takes a lot of work, just like anything in racing.
So you need to find shallow water out there if you possibly can.
I think the shallow line is running right in the center of the track right now. Normally it's shallow up close to the island, fades deeper to the outside, but it seems to be the opposite today.
Wish you good luck.
Thank you.
Brock?
All right, Steve, as we watch Rick Caperton come out and head for the starting line, you know, it's interesting to see the technology that we came here a long time ago, and everybody had just kind of big tires, and that was it. But now we're really working with water dynamics, as it were.
Absolutely, and rolling into the water is Albert Doria. You already saw Boss Buzzard Rick Caperton go in. Tim Beebe in sanitation. Well, back to what you were saying, Brock, when we first started coming here, the current Boss Buzzard would have been a Formula One car compared to the rest of the field.
Absolutely.
And you know, there is one similarity between the buggies and Formula One. You got to build your own chassis.
That's true. But Formula One cars do not use tractor tires on the back. That is one major difference as we watched in sanitation come to the line. But these are pretty sophisticated machines compared to what we used to see here in competition. And as I said, buggies like Albert Doria really use the water well. He is going to get up on plane on that thing and basically use the front, those front dive planes or skid plates to just skim across the water. So it's going to be interesting to see whether Rick Caperton can pull that hole shot that he wants to do. He's on the right side of your screen.
That's right. He's there on the inside, right where he likes it. Tim Beebe in the center, Albert Doria on the outside. If anybody really needs the hole shot, it's Doria as far as the draw for the start is concerned. Everybody intently watching the starter with that green flag. He'll point it at each one, get a little bit of a nod. Yep, they're all ready. Ooh, and he did get the hole shot, Brock.
He sure did. Great charge by Rick Caperton as here comes Doria on the outside. They pull a flanking movement on Tim Beebe and sort of shut him off, pinch him out in the middle. So it's a two-buggy race with Doria on the left, and here comes Doria to take the lead away from Caperton with a real charge into that sweeping straight turn.
And look at the actually pretty wall of water that comes off of the showdown buggy as opposed to Caperton's. Caperton's just doesn't have the aqua dynamics, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, I hope everybody, all the guys in this class have got their VCRs on at home so they can go home and take a look at the way that buggy at Doria's runs as opposed to Rick's. Got plenty of horsepower, but the efficiency of the way Doria's buggy gets through this water really creates a whole new technology. That is real efficiency in this buggy. Is the way, look at it just skim across the surface.
And I've got a feeling that Caperton got that early advantage due more to gearing on his buggy than to reaction times. I think they all mashed the throttle about the same time, and he had a lower gear that got him to the entrance to the diagonal. But here comes an absolutely flawless performance by Albert Doria in Showdown. He is unbeaten, untied, and the winner here today in the stock buggy class is the Swamp Buggy Challenge.
And coming across the line, or headed for the line in second place, is Rick Caperton, who I'm sure is going to go home and do some major redesign on the front end of that buggy because the water management system does need some help.
Pointing out again, though, it's the first time probably the Boss Buzzard has ever been in water this deep, and it made a tremendous difference. Let's have another look here as Rick Caperton, well, he gets paid back for what he did to the competition in an earlier heat race. Watch the dunking that he takes off of the Showdown buggy. There's a pretty wall of water I was thinking about, almost artistic looking. Fantastic day, you know, for Showdown, and Brock's with him.
Looked pretty cool when he came into the pit. You kind of rolled it around, took your time shutting it down, so she must run real cool.
Yeah, she's running good. I'm trying a new radiator, aluminum radiator. It's working fine.
I guess. Well, congratulations. Great race.
Thank you.
There's your winner. Steve?
A Hanson machine prepared just in the nick of time for competition, and a Cinderella story for Albert Doria. Our congratulations to Albert Doria, Rick Caperton, Tim Beebe. All three gave us a great show. For Brock Yates, I'm Steve Evans. Thanks for joining us once again at the Swamp.
The executive producer for American Sports Cavalcade is George E. Orgera. The supervising producer is Tom Gee. Produced and directed by Mark Kuchin. Promotional consideration provided for and a fee paid by this special offer from Diamond Fee.